How did Diddy go from being a billionaire who once held the key to New York City to sitting in a prison jumpsuit and losing more than $700 million? His inner circle is facing arrests, his career has collapsed, and even behind bars he's reportedly being targeted. CNN kept the video of Diddy assaulting Cassie for over 8 years before it finally surfaced. Was all of this really just coincidence, or were larger forces moving in the background?
Who was kind of like, we're done with this guy. You're not back. You're threatened to say this. Release the footage, right? So they released the footage. He comes out, issues an apology, while his lawyers accuse the government of leaking the tape. It was later admitted as evidence in his trial. Again, January deal, March is raiding his house, Miami and LA. May, here's a video being dropped from CNN, even though they've been sitting on it for 8 years. September 2024, book is released, Kim's Lost Words, which, by the way, there's a lot of speculation with this thing here, so whatever I'm reading is not necessarily 100%. It is there, it is not there. The alias they use on who wrote the book is Sean T. Millwood, which is an alias for Tupac, which is kind of weird. Why would you use that? This book appeared on Amazon, allegedly written by Kim Porter, accused Diddy of abuse misconduct with minors. Porter's children denounced it as fake. Investigators revealed the real author was Chris Todd, who claimed he compiled the book from a mysterious flash drive. Amazon removed the book a month later in October.
Back in 1999, Diddy said in an interview that they didn't like the way he partied and that one day they were going to arrest him and take everything. At the time, he was one of the most successful producers in music, celebrated for his lavish lifestyle. So how could he have predicted what would eventually happen?
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You're gonna hear about my parties. They're gonna be shutting them down. They're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. You know, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated. There's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it, and it ain't nothing but break it down racial barriers, break it down generation barriers, people from all walks of life. Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z, Jay-Z talking to, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on, you know, it's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting.
For years, the industry has buzzed with whispers that Diddy worked closely with entertainment power players until he allegedly refused to follow the direction they wanted. Some believe that's when things turned against him. To understand how high his influence was, look at the moment in September 2023 when Mayor Eric Adams personally gave Diddy the key to New York City just before the release of the Love album, Off the Grid. It's rare for a mayor to give such an honor to a producer simply releasing new music.
He already has the keys to some pretty exclusive places, and now Sean Diddy Combs can add New York City to that list. It's Diddy Day in the city. Videos have been playing on the Jumbotron for TSX Broadway, and the crowd waited. Then around 11:30, the doors opened for the mayor and the artists.
The bad boy of entertainment is getting the key to the city from the bad boy of politics.
I want to thank y'all for this honor and just recognizing me being from New York, giving me the key to the city. Diddy finally has the key to the city.
Today's event coincides with the release of his new album, The Love album, Off the Grid.
It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire.
Diddy and Mayor Adams were known to be close. Yet, less than 6 months after that ceremony, federal agents raided Diddy's homes. That same year, Adams himself was indicted on corruption charges. It wasn't only Diddy facing scrutiny. Those around him were being pulled into legal trouble as well.
Sean Diddy Combs returned his honorary key to the city at the request of Mayor Eric Adams. The Harlem native was awarded the key last September, but returned it on June 10th.
Big breaking news tonight. For the first time in the history of New York City, a sitting mayor has been indicted for crimes. ABC News reporting that Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We do not know yet the exact charges. Federal authorities have been investigating Adams and members of his staff, issuing subpoenas for documents and cell phones. Several members of administration have resigned, some of them also friends of Mayor Adams. Again, Eric Adams, the 110th mayor of New York, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. We'll have the latest online and tonight on Eyewitness News at 11.
Some believe Diddy is being singled out as an example. Ice Cube commented that he wasn't shocked by Diddy's downfall and suggested that someone with real power was targeting him.
Surprised at what things are coming out with Diddy at all, or you're like, you have no idea, it's none of my business, you'll live longer. So kind of like the mindset.
Surprised. How could you be surprised with anything that happens in hip hop? You know, hip hop is the Wild West, so. You're going to have the good, you're going to have the bad, you're going to have the ugly.
You think he's being targeted, or some of the stuff he's got, there's credibility on what they're coming after him with the tapes and the feds and raiding his Miami home, his LA home?
I believe he's being targeted.
You believe he's being targeted?
Yeah. I believe, somebody, has the power to pull the trigger to make, this stuff, this domino effect happen.
Ice Cube has spoken before about so-called gatekeepers, unnamed powerful figures who he says influence Hollywood and steer careers from behind closed doors. In one TikTok video, he addressed these figures directly, hinting that they know exactly who they are. The clip sparked online speculation about who he might be referring to.
It's your homeboy Ice Cube. And some of you may not have realized that I'm not part of the club. And a lot of you listening to me right here, right now, you're not part of the club either. And what I realized with the club is what makes them so mad is when you don't want to be a part of their club. That pisses them off. What club am I talking about? I'm talking about the club of gatekeepers that we all got to deal with. You know who they are, and they definitely know who they are. A lot of people would be like, what? Who? Come on, man, stop playing. So, ever since I put out the contract with Black America, they've been fucking with me. Here and there, this and that. But it's cool,
People have claimed that Diddy was once aligned with the same elites who supposedly run the entertainment industry. Lord Jamar even referred to a gay mafia, a term he used to describe a secretive power structure in Hollywood. According to him, these groups collaborate, protect each other, and cover up wrongdoing. And in his view, Diddy wasn't even at the top. Someone even more influential was above him.
Trademark that. But do you believe hip-hop got a gay mafia?
Yes. Do I believe there's people behind the scenes that are homosexuals that are pushing buttons? Yes. And that they want you to be down with their shit in order to push the button for you? Absolutely. And this is part of it. You just saw one of the gay mafia members. That's who he is. That's who Puffy is. He's one of the members of the mob. He's a mafia member. But he might not be Don Carl. He's not the Godfather. You see? He's not the Godfather. He's one of the heads of the families. You see? We had different families in this fucking thing. We got Bad Boy. We got fucking what do we have? Death Row over here. We have the different we got fucking Arista Records and LaFace. And these are the fucking families in the mafia. You dig? Those record companies are like families.
Some argue that this shadowy network contributed to Diddy's downfall. His former bodyguard Gene Deal has said Diddy wasn't always the way he became, that the culture of the industry changed him over time. The parties, the access, and the promises slowly shaped him into someone very different, pushing him toward actions that eventually ruined him.
When they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bruh. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You gotta realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's gonna make him think that he could get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. All that, he learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not gonna say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying?
Diddy worked closely with major industry power brokers, but allegedly wanted more than they were willing to give. When he sued the company that helped make him a billionaire, they settled out of court, yet within months, Diddy and his inner circle were hit with an avalanche of lawsuits. At one point, there were more than 30 cases with his name on them. Suge Knight later claimed that Diddy, while in prison, was likely trying to negotiate with those same people for mercy.
You gotta realize one thing. That boy life is dangerous. His life isn't, and he just not dangerous with the shit they said he was doing, but he's in danger. He know too much. One thing you gotta realize is he probably having a conversation right now with the higher ups and everybody else to figure out how it's gonna work itself out, because he know all the secrets. And if he get to running his mouth, it could be a bad look. I look at it like the most important thing is the industry need to be built over. You have all these executives because somebody was their father, their grandfather, or all these type of stuff, and they don't give people the opportunity to grow and learn. I know when I first started in this business, it wasn't a machine. I had to be the machine. I had to figure out how to get my songs on the radio, because at that time they was getting 5% and they got 10%. They was popping champagne bottles. I went from 95% of the songs you hear on the radio was my songs into 97%. So you had to really do all this thing and really do.
They were all part of the same inner circle, the same mafia, as some describe it, that supposedly orchestrated things behind the scenes. Charlemagne the God even said that if Diddy had true friends, they would have stopped him long before things spiraled. But in that world, loyalty doesn't seem to matter, only power and silence.
I really feel, right? Other than him just being a freak. I don't know how you get in that position and do all of this wild. It just leads me to believe you don't have no real friends around you. Well, because if you're worth $1 billion and you're the guy that has all of these different people employed, like literally you're the reason all of this stuff is happening. All of these people have jobs. You mean to tell me not one person says, bro, you got to stop around with all these drugs. Bro, you got to stop around with all this alcohol. Bro, you need to stop around with all these girls. Bro, stop it with the prostitutes. Why do you have guns in the house with the serial number scratched off? Like nobody, not one person comes around and says, what the f are you doing?
In 2007, Diddy signed a massive partnership with liquor giant Diageo to promote Ciroc vodka, earning him more than $400 million and propelling him into billionaire status. But when Diddy allegedly tried to take control of the brand, Diageo severed ties. Not long afterward, lawsuits began piling up. Was it just timing or something else?
So let's go look at the Ciroc deal, what happened. So Diddy in 2007 does the Ciroc deal, which is a partnership with Diageo to revive Ciroc vodka, taking a 50-50 profit sharing role rather than the standard endorsement. As brand manager and CMO, he elevated the brand from 40,000 to over 2 million cases a year, making it a premium product. Now keep in mind, if you don't know who Diageo is, Diageo owns everybody. Johnny Walker, Crown Royal, Smirnoff, Kettle One, Don Julio, Casamigos, Captain Morgan, Bailey Irish Cream, Guinness. They own all these companies. So Ciroc, hey, this is big. We're bringing Diddy in. He's going to take it from 40,000 to 2 million. Profitable. This is great. Let's make some money together. 2013, De Leon Tequila co-ownership. Diddy and Diageo jointly acquired De Leon Tequila, making it a deeper investment relationship. May of 2023, Diddy sues Diageo. Diddy filed a lawsuit accusing Diageo of neglecting the De Leon brand, racial discrimination, claiming they marketed it as an urban product and failed to treat him as a true business partner. Then in January 2024, they settled out of court. Diageo and Diego settled the dispute out of court. While details still remain sealed, the settlement marked the end of their business relationship. So this is from 2007 till 2024, 17 years. Could they have protected him? I don't know. Their CEO currently today is Deborah Ann Crew. She was a former intelligence officer in the military. Once intelligence officer, forever you're an intelligence officer. Who knows what happened? We don't know the relationship. We're not going to make any accusations. All we know is, could this have been a protection where they were at the parties and they knew things that were taking place and are like, wait, what do you want to do to us? No problem. Boom, drop the bomb. I don't know. All I'm saying is the timing, it's kind of strange. Maybe even they wanted to kind of be like, look, we know what's about to be dropped on this guy. We want to have nothing to do with you. We're out. Here's some money. You stay quiet. We'll pay you, but we want to get out of here. The only thing that the timing's kind of crazy is January 2024, they settle. 2 months later, remember what we're sitting there doing and minding our own business? And you hear, March of 2024, the feds are raiding Diddy's Miami home and his LA home. For what?
Today, Diddy has lost nearly everything. His brand deals, private jet, properties, and even access to his own money. Reports say the FBI has frozen his accounts, and legal fees are draining what's left. To make matters worse, the luxurious jets and mansions he flaunted are now allegedly being used as evidence in trafficking investigations. The same things he once bragged about have become part of the case against him.
As Combs faces a federal trial and a Justice Department forfeiture action that could cost him his empire. An empire that prosecutors allege was built, at least in part, through a pattern of criminal activity, including alleged trafficking, drug distribution, and violence, all used to advance what they call a racketeering enterprise. In the unsealed indictment, prosecutors outline how his business and personal assets allegedly played a role in carrying out or concealing the crimes. This means any assets connected to the behavior, even indirectly, could be seized, including real estate, companies, vehicles, and aircrafts. Now, his $60 million private jet has reportedly already been sold. The Beverly Hills estate is currently on the market for $61 million. And while Combs still owns his $48 million Miami mansion, a judge denied his request to use it as collateral for bond.
And here's what people don't realize. Diddy's not just burning money on defense. His income sources are collapsing one by one, if not already collapsed. Ciroc's parent company, Diageo, dropped him. Quietly. No fanfare, no public fight, just a quiet, chilling severance. Revolt TV is bleeding viewers and advertisers amid backlash over Diddy's involvement. Staff are quitting. Execs are jumping ship. He already sold his stake in it, but now that's died. Sean John is a ghost brand, barely sold in department stores, relying on licensing deals that are now being reevaluated. That $400 million fortune is shrinking fast, and Diddy knows it.
And those legal fees are enormous. Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani said Diddy could spend over 8 figures, more than $10 million, on defense alone. Top lawyers handling complex federal cases can cost 7 figures up front, and Diddy reportedly has an entire team working around the clock. That kind of defense is expected when someone's life and billionaire fortune is in jeopardy.
Fox Business Network's Taylor Riggs says Diddy's financial bleeding shows no sign of stopping.
All I know is that good attorneys charge a lot per hour. We know that they have a big case ahead of them. They also have a lot of those civil trials.
I had a big year this year. His $60 million private jet has already been sold. The snazzy plane, sports cars, mansions from LA to Miami and the Hamptons, $1 million in jewelry and over $20 million in top-of-the-line art, including works by Andy Warhol. That's just a short list of Diddy's physical wealth. But now, with his legal nightmare getting even more frightening, Diddy put his Beverly Hills mansion, that was raided in March, on the market for $61 million.
If people don't want to touch anything with your name on it, you have to look at other tangible assets that you can sell.
The 54-year-old's long legal fight ahead includes over 24 current cases alleging racketeering, sex trafficking. Diddy has vehemently denied all the charges and accusations against.
Some claim Diddy had been cooperating with federal authorities for years, and that this cooperation helped him avoid a life sentence. According to these theories, powerful people wanted to teach him a lesson and remind him of their influence. Instead of life behind bars, he received a 4-year sentence, leading some to believe he was never truly part of the inner circle he thought he belonged to.
It was a great day for the family. Overall, though, it's not surprising. You know, we do all know one thing, like I said before, Puffy has strong ties with the government, with the feds, and anybody else would have been cooked, done. I mean, that's the first time in history that a person is going to get sentenced and they can actually put on a campaign like they're running for the president of the United States, where they can show videos and pretty much everything. Only thing I was waiting on was the fact that I was waiting on him to bring out the DJ and start playing music and let him do what he do best, dance and shake that ass and end up with no time. And the other side of it is that, well, the sad side of it is that I couldn't believe that not one of his baby mothers came in to support him or testify. And I was surprised by that because that shows a lot about the character. I still think it's fair that Puffy got less time because the other people who was involved in this case, other executives, other people, they didn't get punished at all. They walked away untouched. So in society, it's a fair side and it's a bullshit side.
Now, with his sentence reduced, Diddy is reportedly set to serve time at the low-security federal correctional institution at Fort Dix. If transferred there, he may enroll in the prison's drug program in hopes of earning additional time off.
Back now with breaking news, and it involves Sean Diddy Combs. His attorney is now requesting that the former or current rap mogul be placed at Fort Dix in New Jersey as a place to serve his prison sentence because of its drug treatment program. His lawyers, in a letter to a judge, said that they want to address his drug abuse issues and maximize family visitation and rehabilitative efforts. They request that the court strongly recommend the Bureau of Prisons that Mr. Combs be placed at that Jersey facility. They're also asking Combs to be placed in the Bureau's most intensive treatment program. Fort Dix is a low-security prison with about 4,000 inmates. It is ultimately, though, up to the Bureau of Prisons to decide where Combs will ultimately serve his time.
Has put in his recommendation on what prison he wants sent to, and he's moving very calculated, and I honestly can't say I'm surprised. Diddy's lawyers just put in this motion to the judge asking for a recommendation for Diddy to be sent to a low-security prison, which is Fort Dix in New Jersey. And they highlight that Diddy wants to go to this prison for multiple reasons, but the main reason that they list this prison prison is because Diddy wants to try to get into RDAP. That is a prison program where you can actually get up to a year off your sentence if you struggled with substance abuse issues. And honestly, this is one of the best programs where you can get a substantial amount of time off of your sentence if you complete the program. But there's also some things that Diddy would have to meet to even get into this program, which I don't think is going to happen. We already know that Diddy is going to shoot his shot as hard as he can to try to get into this program, because already with what Diddy was sentenced and his time served added to that, he's only looking at about 2.5 years in total. If he was able to make it to this program, he could get up to another year off, meaning he'd only sit 1.5 years in prison. The main qualifier for you to be able to get into this program is show that you had a substance abuse issue before these charges came about and even during these charges, which we know Diddy can in fact meet, but there's also other things that go into why he could be disqualified for this program. The Bureau of Prisons is who is going to handle deciding if Diddy is actually eligible for this program. One of the biggest disqualifiers for this program is violence. Bureau of Prisons will review the nature of current and past convictions. A felony that involved actual attempted or threatened use of physical force is a major disqualifier for early release, regardless of the judge's recommendations for this.
Even if he gets out early, he'll still face 5 years of supervised release, including regular drug testing. And given his history with substance use, even one slip could send him right back to prison.
Conditions sound pretty harsh, but they're pretty standard. Things, as you mentioned, like no contact with victims, also no contact with other criminals, no access to firearms, also unsupervised, or visits, drop-in visits from probation officers at any time, mandatory employment. So many of these are standard. But what I do think is notable is the addition of required treatment programs. And it's not just one, right? It is domestic violence, but also drug abuse and also mental health. The reason why it's so notable is because we all remember the defense described this as a modern love story. And even though Combs was acquitted of the most egregious charges, it's really a message from the court saying there's really still something that is not right here. There's treatment that is required. There's issues that need to be resolved.
Can you tell us a little bit about his living conditions? Because I know that he's currently in Brooklyn, but he's actually asked to be moved to a federal facility. Why? What would that do to his living conditions?
Okay, so very specifically, he's requesting to be moved to Fort Dix, to a low security prison. So that would very much ameliorate, improve his living conditions from where he is in Brooklyn. So this low security prison is more like a dorm-like setting and also has a specific drug abuse treatment program that he's requesting to be a part of. And sometimes people who go through this program successfully can get time off at the end.
Well, Angela, we also know that Diddy is going to be required to work 30 hours a week upon his release. Do we know if that's like, he can just do whatever he wants? He's the owner, obviously, of a company, CEO, or is this something that the state or the courts are going to mandate?
So this is interesting. It is pretty standard, and the legal language is work conscientiously at suitable employment. So that doesn't mean that the government can tell him what job to do, but it does mean that the probation officer can veto what he chooses. And the real point here is access and rehabilitation and not a lot of free time, requiring structure. So given that his employment is generally self-employment and a lot of free time, it's not clear here how the probation officer will respond to that, what sort of restrictions they will put. But yeah, the probation officer can say, this is not okay, too much free time.
But Diddy still hopes to avoid prison time entirely. Surprisingly, that might still be possible. Just 3 days after his sentencing, Donald Trump revealed that Diddy's team had reached out about a presidential pardon. Diddy's lawyers have also said they are working to dismiss his case altogether.
Just 3 days after Diddy was sentenced to over 4 years in prison on charges, President Donald Trump seems to confirm he's heard from the mogul's legal team. The comments coming Monday from the Oval Office as reporters asked about a pardon for Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving 20 years for child trafficking.
I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it, but I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick up for him.
Trump and Diddy's ties go all the way back to the late 90s. Diddy was reportedly a guest at the president's 2005 wedding, and they ran in the same social circles.
One mogul after another. It's mogul time.
It's your boy Diddy.
ET's cameras caught them together at this New York charity event in 2000.
From rumored industry elites to behind-the-scenes alliances and federal probes, Diddy's rise and fall reads like a dramatic lesson in power, loyalty, and ambition. And in the world he once dominated, the lingering question is anyone ever truly safe? Or is everyone only one misstep away from the same fate?